Okay, good evening once again. Our topic for this evening is about structures. And before we come up with what are structures, let me just give you a hint of our objectives for this evening. So, number one is to identify and explain the application lifecycle. Number two, to appreciate the use of data structures in programming languages for solving mathematical problems. And number three, design, develop, implement, test, debug a program using different testing levels and methods. So for structures, we have the terminology or the question, what are structures? So basically, structured programming is a programming paradigm aimed at improving the clarity, quality, and development time of a computer program by making extensive use of the structured control flow and repetition, block structures, and subroutines. When we speak about structured programming, it is the most frequently used deviation that allow for clearer programs in some particular cases, such as when exception handling has to be performed. So structures represent a named collection of related data. So that basically that is the definition of structures. It represents a named collection of related data. So like for anything in a computer, more complicated than the list of numbers, structures can be used. So for example, if you wanted to represent any given car, we might want to know how many its doors, if it has aircon, or what is the maximum speed, etc. So all of the attributes or all of the information related to the single word car, it is an entity and should be saved in a computer using a structured data type. So an example of structures are, first of all, is the arrays. Okay, if you watch the movie Matrix, array is it is the scene wherein Neo, the character of Keanu Reeves, has developed the mentality of the chosen one, and then during his time, wherein he is rebooted into a different world, what happens is that um, he has to undergo a certain type of training or coding. So that kind of training is just like what you're doing in coding. Ang gina-type ninyo yung program naton kag ginapasulod sa ng IDE pagkatapos gina-check kung sakto kung hindi. So that is an example of array. So an array is just a mirrored reflection of any entity. And array, it is useful because the element indices can be computed at runtime. So the term array is often used to mean array data type, the kind of data type provided by most high-level programming languages. It is also a collection of values or variables that can be selected by one or more indices computed at runtime. Computed at runtime means that is the time when you are going to compile your program. So array has many applications, guys. There are a lot of applications of arrays, no? Before we go to the activity, the application of arrays are used to implement mathematical vectors and matrices, as well as other kinds of rectangular tables. So array can be used also in databases, small, large, etc. And we had one-dimensional array whose elements are records. So array are used to implement other data structures such as list, heap, hash, tables, queue, stacks. Now, which is nga ginatun-an ninyo, guys. So one or more large arrays are sometimes used to emulate in-program dynamic, memory allocation, and memory pooling. So array can be used to determine partial or complete control flow of the program. So there are different kinds of identifiers and addressing formula, the types of arrays. One of which type of array is one-dimensional array. It is the one-dimensional means isa lang gid siya ka dimension. Number two is multi-dimensional. When you speak about one-dimensional and multi-dimensional, kung dumduman ninyo guys ang inyong algebra, So when you speak about ang binomial ninyo, balakag ang trinomial. Actually, ang binomial is multidimensional kay 2 or more. Pero actually, you can compare it to one-dimensional array. Ang trinomial, multidimensional array na siya. And then we have doped vectors. Doped vectors is a complete handle for array and is a convenient way to pass array as arguments or procedures. Another one is the compact layouts. Number 5 is the resizing. And number 6 is nonlinear formulas. So for your activity number 30, what you're going to do is to watch the movie Matrix by Keanu Reeves and answer the questions below. So you're going to write it in a form using the standard format provided for your Google Classroom. So which means you're going to write it in any word processor or any equivalent program. Okay, number 1 question is, in the movie, what scene suggests a direct representation of array? So you have to explain it. You don't need to explain it in 500 words, but you need to explain it in your own words. Number 2 is to explain the replication skill of Agent Smith. And how does it represent array elements? And number 3, is Neo an array type of character? So you have to answer it yes or no, why or how, and explain it. Okay? So another one is the Q, or this is spelled Queue. It is also an abstract data type, but mag-pronounce ko mo guys, it's Q, just like banana Q. Okay? So for Q is a collection of entities that are maintained in a sequence and can be modified by an additional entity at one end of the sequence and removal of entity. So a queue is like a buffer. Like for example, if you're watching a YouTube video and nagaano siya guys, ang video nga ginalantaw ninyo, wala siya continue ang naga-play, meaning to say may buffer siya. So ang buffer nga da, hulaton mo pa da guys na mag-loading kay mahina ang signal or probably why ka mo sa range ka signal. So it's like queuing. So gina-queue niya. Buffering is like a queue. And queue is sometimes an operation which make it a first in, first out data structure. So for first in, first out data structure, laging discuss natin ang FIFO last time. Ang kung ano yung data nga una nagsulod sa ano, specifically ang inyong binary terms, binary number. Kung 1 man na siya or 0. Pagkatapos, kung una siya sulod, una man siya gwa. Q can be maybe implemented as a separate data type or may be considered a special case for double-ended queue and not implemented separately. So we have here for the queue, I think we had the standard library for C++. And other applications on programming languages can have a queue also, just like your PHP and SQL. So for your activity number 31, you're going to watch the movie Open Windows by Elijah Wood and answer the questions below. So you're going to write it in paragraph form using the standard format provided. So question, actually this is question number 1, 2, 3, no? Pero ano siya 4, 5, 6. But anyway, in the movie, what scene suggests a direct representation of Q? And then explain the queuing sequence of the surveillance of the main character. Does it have queuing property? And number 6 is Elijah Wood's character had a queuing personality. So you have to answer it yes or no, or why or how. Okay? So that is your activity 31. To continue with our discussion, we also have the stacks or stacking. And it also, stacks are also a type of data abstraction. So data abstraction or abstract data types is a programming methodology where one defines not only the data structure to be used, but the processes to manipulate the structure. So for example, it can be supported directly by programming languages. How? So by defining data structures, And then encapsulation of data structures and their routines to manipulate the structures into one unit. So that is for by placing all the definition in one unit, and it can be compiled at one time. So for information hiding or to protect the data structure from outside interference or manipulation, the data structure should only be accessible from code encapsulated with structures on hidden protective from outside world. And then the object must be one way so that the implementation of abstract data types could be put into an object or additional properties. So for stacking, again, stacking is just a linear structure, or more consequently, the abstract or sequential collection of pushing data. In your module on page 103, you can see there the example of push and popping and push and pop of different sequence of values. So that is stacking. In simpler term, guys, like for example, the most simplest definition or example that I can give you for stack is like for example, if you had dinner tonight and toka mo maghugas ka pinggan, kung ano ang una mga pinggan nga ginbutang sa lababo, amo daya pinakaorihi nga maugasan kaysa pinakadalom siya na butang. So in stacking, in programming languages, it's also the same. When you are going to stack a program or a code, kung ano yung una nga ginbutang ninyo sa dalom, amo daya orihin ninyo nga masapwan. Kung ano yung pinaka-orihin ninyo nga gintungtong or ginpasulod, amo man daya una ninyo nga i-cater kay inyong nga memory. So that is stacking. Naka-stack siya. So ang kagina, ang stack is an opposite of your queue. Opposite siya sa queue. Okay? So stacks and programming languages. Other languages such as Perl, LISP, JavaScript, and Python make the stack operation push and pop available on their standard list or library types. Some languages use this in the fourth family are designed around languages-defined stack that are directly visible to the manipulated by the programmer. So another one is linked list, no? For linked list, it is a list of a collection of class objects called nodes. And then each node is linked to the successor node in the list using reference to the successor node. So a node is made up of field of storing data and a field for node references. So the reference to another node is called a link. Actually, guys, for nodes for linked list, actually, what I can give you an example is the shortest path algorithm. So in shortest path algorithm, you can research on this. You're just like for searching in a search tree sa Google ninyo bla, maskin kagi ka mo ano sa Google, di ba? Ka search. Like on one topic, like example, i-search nyo COVID-19. And then what happens is after you press the search button sa Google, you will find out that the list tree, kung ano makita nga first na mo na scan ang kasunod. So you can click on the links that is pertaining to COVID-19. However, when you're going to it takes time to for searching. If you're going to press the search button for Google, what will happen is actually ang katabo sa background is Google will automatically search for that. It might be the hit ang tawag kada dyan, pero it's more on the linked list for the nodes, meaning to say kung ano yung pinaka-shortest nga related nga data, amo day post na kaginatao sa end user. So the nodes are being done. These nodes are links. Ang nagakonekta kada dyang nodes as the links. Ang mga nodes is for independent information that you can see on the internet. So for linked list is also being used such as in databases. This one is the standalone procedure for any computer which requires databases, which is standalone. Wala siya naka-network. However, paano siya mag-search? Ina-search niya ang kagalingon niya, kundi niya gin-store ang data within sa computer files niya. or sa structures. I think that's all for tonight. I think we have 4 topics, no? Add a star sapientiam to the stars through knowledge. Okay, so good evening, guys. So I think that is all our lecture for this evening. I hope that you've learned of our topics. Actually, we have 4 main topics, no, to consider. These are the following. The very first topic that we discuss about is array, and array is data type which provided the most high-level language program that consists of a collection of value or variable. So array can be used or implemented by an array structure. And this is also a term for the description of algorithm to associate array in a theoretical models intended to capture the essence of properties of array. That's why if you will watch the movie Matrix, that is on activity 30, you can see there the flashes of array within the characters. So, hindi nyo lang siya pagpadalman, guys. And please don't copy-paste ang tanan yung mga internet. Please do your reaction, your essay, your reaction on the movie with the questions provided for you in your own words. Okay? The second topic is about queue. Queue is, queuing is just the pagpasunod, guys. This is ang pagpasunod lang sa mga values or variables na intended for compiling or for running. So what you're doing is buffering, like the example that I gave you was the buffering from YouTube, no? When you watch YouTube, for example, if the continuation of the signal for in your cell phones cannot be especially kung makarelate ka mo, guys, if you're living on barangays nga ang signal tama gid ka, naga-load lang siya. So the loading process is queuing. Queuing in such a way that you're waiting for the file to finish and actually load it on its certain medium. In our case, that is your YouTube channel. So queuing is also associated with back, front, and the enqueuing of information. Pero guys, nagkakatabo lang ang queue kung may delay. So ang delay nga dyan has, this is an interruption. And interruptions can be preceded as the blockage of information. So that is considered to be a blockage of information for array, for queuing. So in your activity, specifically on activity number 31, please watch the movie Open Windows by Elijah Wood, and you can see there that the characters have sometimes a queue personality. So by then, you'll be guided with the questions such as ang 4, 5, 6 nga makita ninyo sa module ninyo, guys. And then, you have to explain it in your own words, no? Open Windows is, hindi man siya tama kadaan nga movie. I think 2006 or 16 or 2017. Okay, if you don't have copy of this, maybe I can provide you a copy with Open Windows. Ilang taon ko anay sa akon ng mga folders. If I can give you a copy, alternative movie, which is Open Windows. For Matrix, I think you just spilled some footages from the YouTube. And Open Windows is Open Windows a trailer. You can see that also in YouTube, man. So if you will not see the movie, I suggest this is only a suggestion, guys. I suggest you go to YouTube and see the some scenes of the movie, or probably, guys, ang ilang trailer, so that you can give an idea of the trailer is the summary of the totality of the movie na. So it will guide you all throughout. Or maybe kay magdaan naman sila ng mga movie daya. You can see there the snippets of the movie and then you can study or get an idea on the okay guys. So any more questions regarding our activity? That is the second topic, Q. Actually, we have a third and fourth topic, but I didn't give any activity anymore because I'm limiting our activity in tagdual lang per week. So I'm hoping that you can actually answer all the questions. Please answer it because I've noticed only some of the who are attending are doing their doing their activity. So please don't slack your activity because you may have a hard time during the passing of the grade, no? Not only with me but also with for your convenience, bala. Okay, so do you have any questions, guys, regarding our lecture? By the way, ang duwa naton ka topic na nabilin are stock and linked list. For stock naman, ang example ko na dyan kaninyo kagina is kung mangugas ka mo pinggan, nakastock ang pinggan, kung ano ang pinakauna nga pinggan na ginbutang sa lababo, amo day ginasampawan. Meaning to say, ang orihin ninyong ugasan ang sa katapusan. That is a very good analogy in our programming languages because amo man daga katabo sa programming language naton wherein nga mag ano kamo ginabase ko lang ang analogy guys ha. Kaya ginawa ko abing explain in simpler terms. So it's still the same. What happens is the last plate that you nga nugasan ninyo amo man day last nga ano nga ginano confirmation. So stacking is just ang FIFO ninyo or first in FILO ata. FIFO no? First in first out. First in last out. First in last out. FILO. FILO. First in last out algorithm. So kung ano ya nakauna nga information nga store nyo sa memory, amo day last nga information ang magwa. So stacking na siya. When we speak about linked list, these are the linked list is related to array. Related na sila sa array guys, ang linked list. However, ang sa linked list naman, that is among the simplest and common data structure that can be used to implement several other common data types. And by doing this, there is a so-called allocation of or reorganization of the entire structure because the data items need not to be stored contiguously on a memory or on a disk. So tandaan niyo ang memory naton sa computer naton base sa tong first ano ninyo no sa mga subjects ninyo mula sa basic ng first sem. Actually ang memory niyo there are two kinds of memory no where you can have the ROM or the RAM. Ang ROM is the read-only memory which stores temporary data. And RAM is the memory wherein it utilizes the resources from any devices. Maskin ano lang na device, computer nyo, laptop, or cellphone. Pero ang cellphone, ang anang technology ARM. Ang sa ano ninyo, laptop kag sa ano is Intel. So diyan naglain ang sa hardware. Pero ang sa software side, ano ka mo memory, maskin ano pang operating system ginagamit nyo. Cellphone, of course, Android or kung iPhone ninyo, ti iOS. The same man gyapon ang utilization ng memory maggamit. So the same thing with your although ang balanda mas madasig pagkani guro ang cellphone naton kaysa laptop naton. Kay ARM ang ginagamit. Ang sa laptop is ang x86 architecture which is Intel pa. Ang nagagamit lang ka ARM sa ang gagamit ka ARM nga technology within sa mga laptop or sa desktop ang ana lang ka Apple. Ang sa Macintosh lang kag ang iPad Air. Pero ang mga Windows based ninyo nga mga laptops, those are Intel pa. So I think kung ano ninyo naga-take over dun bido karon ang ARM mas dasig siya compare sa ano in terms of memory. So that is it no for tonight. I think those are the 4 topics that we discussed about. But I'm only giving you an assignment for 2 topics, which is first one, the array, and the second one is the what's the second one? Q. Q. Okay, so kung magambal ka mo Q, ang pronunciation is actually Q, no? The banana Q. However, ang spelling is Queue. So Q ang pronunciation. Okay, so I think that is all for tonight, guys. If you don't have any questions, you can put down your attendance already on our chat box. Okay, I'm at this time I would like to announce that please stand by for those people who did not get their midterm exam. The set B is already made na himo ko doon. Budlay gani. Maghimo liwat kay exam. Ang guys, gusto ko garing mabuol ka mo tanan kung ano ka mo ka make up exam sa midterm. Gusto ko tanan ka mo guys nga why pa ka buol, mabuol do ka exam. Okay? So it's for your own good. Please hindi nyo pag kay ang midterm exam nyo is 70% of your grade. Please do 40%, 40 just check sa natin sa syllabus. It's okay. So please we will find time nga tanan kamo pwede magbuol. Hindi pwede section A, section B. Or ito lang kamo ka section guys no first year. Isa lang bala kamo ata. Ang second year bala duwa ka section pag ang third year. Pero okay, so maskin amoda, please tingob ka mo bool exam. Sino pa kaninyo di wa ka bool? I'm sorry guys, ang tungway ka pasa sa first nga hindi dito ma-record yan. Ano ni bool ka maliwat nuro? Ang way ka pasa gid na sa on time bala. Ang way ka ka link. Okay? I will lang siguro para mayad no. I will jot down the names of people nga wala pa ka why ma-record ang pangalan sa sa ang why nakapasa sa first kag why nagbuol. So consider man sa why nagbuol kay uti siya nakapasa nanda. I will just announce it in our GC and then we'll going to fire please lantawan nilang anay. It might be this Friday or maybe next week pa. So please stand by lang. And once in a while, guys, check our GC, okay? Please check our GC. Okay. So thank you so much for listening for this evening. I hope that you jot down already your attendance. And good evening to each and every one of you. Diyan sa balay nyo, good evening man sa parents ninyo. Kag sa tanan nga nagapamati ka online class natin for this evening. So thank you very much guys and see you next week. If you jot down your attendance already, you may go now so that this ends our class na for this evening. So thank you so much and good evening again.
Thank you sir, good evening.
Good evening to. Good evening.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, guys, thank you. Good evening, Marge. Thank you again for joining our online class. Good evening lang dyan kaninyo. Okay, goodbye, guys. Jacob, good evening. Jessame.
Sir, excuse
Yvette. Yes, yes.
Dang 1999, di ba itong Matrix nga movie?
Probably, yes. Just check it, no? 1999 ata, or 1997, I'm not sure. Ang very first Matrix is Matrix lang gid ang pangalan niya. Pero medyo medyo nabi nga Matrix Revolutions, kag Matrix isa pa gid. Pero ang original nga Matrix is ang part 1, Matrix lang gid yung pangalan niya. So check nyo lang guys, I forgot the date, the year. Kay dugay naman. Dugay naman ang pelikula abi mo. So
Okay, sir. Thank you.
you're welcome. So good evening. Thank you. Jaya, good evening. Okay, sige guys. I will stop the recording na. And thank you Anthony and Kenneth. Good evening guys.
Good evening, sir. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.